Her phone displayed a new Wi-Fi network named Behind You. At first, she thought it was a joke, some neighbor messing around with their router name again. Her apartment building was full of bored people who treated their Wi-Fi networks like personal billboards. Pretty fly for a Wi-Fi. Mom use this one. Stop stealing my internet. But this one didn't feel like a joke. It appeared suddenly, at the top of the list, stronger than her own signal, as if the source was right next to her. She locked her phone and set it down on the coffee table. The apartment was quiet except for the hum of the refrigerator and the faint traffic outside. She lived alone and she liked the silence, usually. Tonight it pressed against her like a weight. She picked up the phone again. The network was still there. Behind you. She turned slowly, scanning the living room. Nothing. Just the couch, the small bookshelf, the hallway leading to her bedroom. The shadows were still. The air didn't move. She exhaled and shook her head. Probably a prank. Someone naming their hotspot something creepy. Maybe a neighbor directly above her. Maybe below. Maybe someone passing by in the hallway. But the signal strength, it was full. Completely full. She opened her Wi-Fi settings again. The network flickered, disappeared, then reappeared instantly. Still at the top, still at full strength. Her phone buzzed. A notification. Network available. Behind you. She swallowed. Her throat felt tight. She walked to the door and checked the peephole. The hallway was empty. No footsteps, no voices, no movement. She locked the door again, sliding the chain across. Back in the living room, she sat on the couch and tried to distract herself with a video. But the phone kept buzzing. Every few seconds. Network available. Behind you. She muted notifications, but they kept appearing silently, stacking in the corner of the screen like a growing warning. She turned off Wi-Fi entirely. The network still appeared. Her breath caught. That wasn't possible. Wi-Fi networks didn't show up when Wi-Fi was off. She toggled airplane mode. The network still appeared. Behind you. Her hands trembled. She stood up, backing toward the wall, keeping her eyes on the room. The shadows seemed deeper now, heavier. The corners of the apartment looked wrong, like they were holding their breath. She walked to the kitchen and grabbed the biggest knife she owned. Felt ridiculous, but the weight of it steadied her. She moved room to room, checking closets, under the bed, behind the shower curtain. Nothing. Just her apartment, quiet and still. When she returned to the living room, her phone was on the floor. She hadn't dropped it. She had left it on the coffee table. The screen was on, facing upward, displaying the Wi-Fi list. The network name had changed. I see you. Her pulse hammered in her ears. She stepped back, gripping the knife tighter. The phone buzzed again. A new notification. Network available. Turn around. She didn't. She couldn't. Her legs felt locked in place. The apartment seemed to stretch, the silence thickening until she could hear her own heartbeat echoing inside her skull. She forced herself to breathe, slow and quiet. Another notification appeared. Turn around. She stared at the phone, refusing to move. Then the lights flickered. Just once. Quick, sharp blink. She gasped. The knife shook in her hand. The lights flickered again, longer this time. The shadows jumped, stretched, twisted across the walls like something crawling just out of sight. Her phone buzzed. Turn around. She squeezed her eyes shut, then opened them again. The apartment looked the same, but she felt something behind her. Not a sound, not a movement, just a presence. Heavy, close. Her phone buzzed again. Turn around. She took a breath and spun around, knife raised. Nothing, just the wall, just the quiet. She exhaled shakily, lowering the knife. Her phone buzzed again. She turned back to it. The network name had changed again. Look down. Her stomach dropped. Slowly, she lowered her gaze. A shadow stretched across the floor, one that wasn't hers. It rose from behind the couch, tall and thin, its edges trembling like static. It didn't move toward her. It didn't reach out. Simply stood there as if waiting. Her phone buzzed. Do not run. She stepped backward anyway, her breath breaking into sharp, panicked gasps. The shadow lengthened, sliding across the floor like spilled ink. The lights flickered again. The shadow twitched. Her phone buzzed. Stop! She bolted toward the door, unlocking it with shaking hands, ripping the chain aside. She ran into the hallway, slamming the door behind her. Her footsteps echoed down the corridor as she sprinted toward the stairwell. She didn't stop until she reached the street, breathless and shaking. Only then did she check her phone. Airplane mode was still on. Wi-Fi was still off. But one network appeared. Full signal. Stronger than before. Behind you. She spun around, but the street was empty. Just passing cars, distant voices, the glow of streetlights. Her breath fogged in the cool air. She backed toward the curb, scanning every shadow. Her phone buzzed again. A new network appeared beneath the first. Come home. She shook her head violently. No, she wasn't going back inside. She couldn't. She started walking, fast, down the sidewalk. Her phone buzzed with every step. Come home. Come home. Come home. The signal strength didn't weaken. If anything, it grew stronger. She turned a corner. The networks followed. Behind you. Come home. I see you. Her pace quickened. She passed the convenience store, the closed laundromat, the dim alleyway that always smelled like damp concrete. The networks followed her like footsteps she couldn't hear. She reached the main road, where cars hissed by in the rain. She crossed quickly, heading toward the bus stop. A bus was pulling up, its headlights cutting through the mist. She ran toward it. Her phone buzzed again. A new network appeared. Do not get on. She froze. The bus doors opened with a soft hiss. The driver looked at her, waiting. Her phone buzzed again. Do not get on. She stepped backward, trembling. The bus doors closed, pulled away, leaving her alone in the rain. She looked around. The street was empty. The mist thickened, swallowing the edges of buildings. Her phone buzzed. Come home. She didn't want to, but the street felt wrong now. Too quiet, too empty, too watched. The mist pressed against her skin like cold fingers. She turned around and began walking back toward her apartment. With every step, the networks grew stronger. Behind you. Come home. I see you. Good. She reached her building. The lobby lights flickered as she entered. The elevator doors were open, waiting. She didn't take it. She took the stairs instead, climbing slowly, listening for footsteps behind her. There were none. But she felt them anyway. At her floor, she hesitated. Her door was closed. The hallway was silent. Her phone buzzed. Good girl. Her breath hitched. She unlocked the door and stepped inside. The apartment was dark. She reached for the light switch. Her phone buzzed. Don't. She froze. The darkness felt alive, thick, pulsing. She could hear something faint, like breathing, but not human. Slow, deep, wet. Her phone buzzed again. Come to the living room. Her legs moved without her permission. She walked down the hallway, each step heavier than the last. The living room was darker than the rest of the apartment, as if the shadows had pooled there. Her phone buzzed. Look. She raised her eyes. The shadow from before stood in the center of the room. Taller now, its edges sharper, its form more solid. It had weight, presence, intent. Her phone buzzed again. Welcome home. The shadow stepped forward. The lights went out, and her phone dropped from her hand as the darkness swallowed her whole. The kitchen chair rocked gently, as if someone had just stood up. She froze in the doorway, one hand still resting on the light switch. The motion was subtle, barely there, but unmistakable. The chair creaked once, then settled, the faint sound echoing through the quiet house. The air smelled faintly of coffee and rain. The clock above the sink ticked steadily, each second louder than the last. She lived alone. She was sure of that. The chair stood at the small wooden table where she'd eaten dinner an hour ago. The plate was still there, half finished, the fork resting across it. She hadn't moved the chair since she sat down. She hadn't touched it. And yet it rocked. She stepped closer, her bare feet whispering against the tile. The refrigerator hummed softly. The chair stopped moving. She stared at it for a long moment, waiting for another sign. A draft, a vibration, anything. Nothing. Just silence. She reached out and touched the back of the chair. Cold. Too cold. She pulled her hand back quickly, rubbing her fingers together. The air felt heavier now, as if the kitchen had shrunk around her. She turned toward the hallway, half expecting to see someone standing there. No one. She laughed under her breath, a nervous sound that didn't belong to her. Old house, she whispered. Settling. But the house wasn't old. It was new. She had moved in 3 weeks ago. She sat down at the table again, trying to shake the unease. The chair creaked beneath her. She stared at the plate, at the fork, at the faint reflection of the overhead light in the water glass. Everything looked normal. Then the chair behind her creaked. She turned sharply. The other chair, the one across from her, was moving. Slowly. Rocking back and forth, as if someone had just stood up. Her breath caught. The motion was deliberate, rhythmic. The legs scraped faintly against the tile. She pushed her own chair back, the sound loud and harsh in the quiet. Stop, she whispered. The chair stopped. She stared at it, heart pounding. The clock ticked. The refrigerator hummed. The rain outside tapped against the window. Then the chair moved again. This time it didn't rock. Turned. Just a few inches. Enough to face her. She backed away, bumping into the counter. The knife block rattled. She grabbed one instinctively, the handle slick against her palm. The chair turned another inch. Her phone buzzed on the counter. She snatched it up, hands shaking. The screen lit with a notification. New device connected to your home network. She blinked. She hadn't added anything new. She tapped the notification. Device name, kitchen_chair. Her stomach dropped. She turned back toward the table. The chair was still, perfectly still. The air around it shimmered faintly, like heat rising from asphalt. She stepped closer, knife raised. The chair didn't move. Her phone buzzed again. Device active. The lights flickered. She gasped, spinning toward the switch. The bulbs dimmed, then brightened, then dimmed again. The shadows stretched across the walls, long and thin, reaching toward her. The chair creaked. She turned back. It was rocking again. Slow, steady, hypnotic. The motion matched the rhythm of her heartbeat. She wanted to run. She didn't. Her phone buzzed again. Device status. Occupied. The knife slipped from her hand and clattered to the floor. She backed away, trembling. The chair rocked faster now, the sound louder, sharper. The table shook. The glass tipped and rolled off the edge, shattering on the tile. She turned and fled down the hallway, her footsteps echoing. She reached the bedroom, slammed the door, and locked it. Her breath came in ragged bursts. The house was silent again. She pressed her ear to the door. Nothing. No footsteps. No creaking. No rocking. Her phone buzzed. She looked down. Device disconnected. Kitchen_chair. She exhaled shakily, relief flooding her chest. She laughed again, weakly. Just a glitch, she whispered. Just a stupid glitch. Then the bed creaked. She froze. The sound was soft, but unmistakable, the sound of weight shifting, of someone standing up. Her phone buzzed again. New device connected. Bedroom_bed. She didn't move. She didn't breathe. The air beside her changed, cooler, heavier. The mattress dipped slightly, as if someone had just stood up. Her phone buzzed one last time. Device status. Behind you. She spun around, but nothing was there. Just the dark room, the faint outline of her dresser, the curtains swaying slightly as if touched by a breeze that didn't exist. She backed into the corner, clutching her phone. The screen flickered, then went black. She tapped it, but it didn't respond. The battery was full. It should have worked. The bed creaked again. She stared at it, unable to look away. The mattress rose slowly, as if something invisible was climbing onto it. The blankets shifted, folding inward, forming the shape of a seated figure. Her breath hitched. The figure didn't move. It just sat there, perfectly still, perfectly silent. Then the chair in the kitchen creaked. She heard it clearly even from the bedroom. A long, slow creak, followed by the faint scrape of wood on tile. Another creak. Another scrape. The chair was moving again. She stepped toward the bedroom door, trembling. She unlocked it slowly, the click echoing through the house. She opened the door a crack. The hallway was dark. The chair creaked again. She stepped out, her feet cold against the floor. She moved slowly, each step deliberate. The hallway stretched longer than usual, the shadows deeper. She reached the kitchen doorway. The chair was rocking violently now, slamming against the table legs, scraping across the floor. The table shook with each impact. The overhead light flickered wildly. Her phone buzzed in her hand. She looked down. New device connected. Hallway_shadow. She lifted her eyes. A tall, thin shadow stretched across the floor behind her. One that didn't match her shape, her height, or her movement. It rose up the wall, elongated, trembling like static. She turned slowly. Nothing was there, but the shadow remained. Her phone buzzed again. Device status. Approaching. The shadow moved. It slid across the floor toward her, stretching, reaching. The chair slammed against the table one last time and toppled over, the crash echoing through the house. She backed away, heart pounding. The shadow rose up the wall, towering over her, its edges sharp and jagged. It leaned forward, bending toward her like a figure stepping out of a doorway. Her phone buzzed. Device status. Standing. The shadow loomed closer. Her phone buzzed again. Device status. Beside you. She felt cold air brush her arm. Her phone buzzed one final time. Device status. You should have stayed seated. The shadow lunged. The lights went out. The house fell silent. But the story didn't end there. She woke on the kitchen floor. The chair was upright again. Her phone lay beside her. Screen cracked, buzzing faintly. She picked it up with trembling fingers. New device connected. Floor_you. She dropped the phone, scrambling backward. Her breath came in sharp, panicked bursts. The room felt wrong. Tilted, stretched, too quiet. The chair creaked. She looked up. It rocked gently, as if someone had just stood up. But she was on the floor. She hadn't touched it. She hadn't moved it. She hadn't. Her phone buzzed again. Device status, rising. The chair stopped rocking. The air thickened. Something stood behind her. And this time she didn't turn around.